Hey everybody, it is April 1916. Central Power's turn. And once again, they attacked across the river, trying to take this spot so they could get a good attack on the supply line and break the defenses of the Russians. And once again, it's about the same result. Germans lost 2 corps here and artillery, and they still left 1 Russian unit left. They just can't seem to get that last one. It's one of those deals where they get some exchanges involved or a elimination, and they just can't get that last one. They just don't have enough firepower to get on there with them being dug in like that. Just can't do it. Now over here, they assess the situation, what's going on. We'll just say what here. They brought the reinforcements. They had some reinforcements over here that were supposed to be thrown into the meat grinder over here, but they pulled them out, railed them in, along with some troops that they railed in from over by Berlin and Leipzig and other places. Railed them to the full extent, and that's the farthest they could get, is right there. And they formed a daisy chain of troops that just unloaded on that position right there. So it's one of those deals where they have to do some type of defense, because this crossroads is very important to them. If they don't have that, this whole offensive over here is going to fail. And right now they've got to reorganize this one. This one is a total cluster. It's pretty messed up. And the unfortunate thing is the Germans had to pull some troops off the line because of attritional rates and bring them elsewhere. So they had to pull some troops out of here also. And now they got to reorganize, get these demoralized troops back into action, and maybe they can do another attack over here. But at the moment, they can't do anything. So these Russians are going to be marching down the road along with these British over here. Now, Austrians did take what little reinforcements they had, pulled them out, and put them as far close as they could get them into right here to stop this advance of the Russians and the British from getting closer to that city. And they pulled out of the attack over here, and they're marching them back. Unfortunately, it took all their movement just to get here. They couldn't in-train to get over to here, to get a little bit extra movement. So the best they could do is get to there, and that's it. So if this rail gets cut, these guys are going to possibly be out of supply. So that's going to be a problem. So we're going to have to see what happens. And over here, the Central Power troops, like I said, these guys pulled back here into Sofia to protect their capital. The Germans consolidated here, and 1 cav unit is here on the line, protecting from this advancing forces. So it's not looking good down here in Bulgaria. The Germans high command wanted to throw some more troops down here, but they can't because the Russians are on the offensive over there. So they had to put some defense in order to protect their other offenses. So they couldn't send any more troops down here. That's a big problem for them. So we'll just have to see what happens in the Allied turn. And maybe the Central Powers can get a breather, just like the Russians did. They need some way either to pull back, regroup, and try to figure out where to go from there. That's the biggest problem that the Central Powers have right now. They have a lot of troops. It's not helping is that the Austrians lost a bunch of their replacement values because of the war effort. You know, all the people are dissatisfied. So they can't resupply their army. They can't build an army up. They lost a whole bunch of troops. They can't bring them back for a long time. Not until something else changes in the game. All right, we'll be back. Everybody, it is April 1960. Allies turn, and you can see here nothing changed over here. What are you doing in the lake? You can't be in the lake. And the Russians did nothing but continue staying dug in. They didn't have to do much other than throw some people into the line. Over here, same thing. They maintained everything. This unit here dug in, looking at this, contemplating, do they need to attack to put pressure on this line, to put pressure over here. So this line, this is pressuring the capital. So if they maybe attack and put pressure on these guys who are disorganized, maybe. But at the moment, the Russian high command is just preferring all the action being down farther south. They formed up on this river line over here, still in defense over here. Over here's the interesting thing. You had the Cav and the British units attack that one Austrian corps that was there with some artillery, and they obliterated it, which stands to reason, pushing the supply line. So the supply line right now, these Austrians that are over here are out of supply at the beginning of the turn. So they need to get in supply, depending on the weather, which is kind of curious since it is at the end of the turn. Let's see what happens in May. May is a 2. I rolled a 2. And May. Clear. Oh, okay. It's going to be clear until September. So they will have a 5 supply line. So the thing is, if you count 5 from here, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have to get here. And they can get one corps back in supply, but the other one's going to be out of supply. So that's going to be a major problem for them, because they could die on the vine. And if this line gets pushed back even farther, they have to build what little troops they can here. So the odds are these guys are going to starve on the vine eventually if they. And I would think that the Russians wouldn't even have to mess with them. They just let them die off if they just cut their supply line. So there's not much I don't think the Austrians can do, really. They can't get any closer unless they do an attack across the river here. No, they can't even do that. That's one cost. Well, I guess they could. They cost 3 movement. They do have a 3 movement, so they could do an attack there and see if they could take somebody with them. That's about the best they can do. Over here, the Allies, as I said, they were trying to do a blocking action with that one Cav unit. It was just a speed bump to these corps right here. They just ate it, spit it out. There was the German corps here. These 2 British corps attacked, and the Germans were, there was the 2 corps that were normal were demoralized, and they fell back. The demoralized corps that was in there was destroyed. So that is what happened there. So the end result is Sofia is about ready to get cut off. So what the weather is, since these guys have a 4 movement now due to the weather, it's possible for these corps to get in here and do a major attack. I don't think Sofia is going to be around next turn. Most likely, that's what's going to happen. I think Bulgaria is toast in the war. The British are coming for them. And the other thing, there's a 2-pronged attack with the Brits, is that they may put some pressure on and take out Serbia and recapture Serbia back, and then it's possible to put pressure over here. It's going to have to take some actual German units down here to protect the Austrian frontier. That's I'm thinking, because there's no way the Austrians can rebuild unless they start pulling troops out of here and if they pull troops out of here and here, then they lose even more replacement points. So it's not in their favor. They're just having a heck of a time with all this. That war status just hurt them bad. Speaking of which, I need to check some stuff, so I'll be right back. Alright, so we have to do the morale effects here again. Let's do Germany. Go through this line. Germany rolled a 3, so no effect. So they don't have to worry about anything. Austria-Hungary Okay, they have for each major city. They haven't lost any major city, so it's just a straight up die roll. They rolled a 7, so no effect. So Austria is now back into whatever it was going on. They got that squared away, so now they're going to have some troops coming back. All right, so Ottoman Empire's out. Bulgaria. All right, they've lost 2 cities, so they have a +2. Ooh, lost my dice. Alright, so they rolled an 8, +2 is 10. They reduced infantry by 30%. Alright, so they have 1, so they're still just going to receive 1. So that's pretty much no effect. France is out of the war. Italy, it's just a straight up die roll of 5, no effect. Britain, 1, oh, that's a 2. Rolled a 2, so no effect. Russia, okay, they have a +2. 3 is nothing, so it's a 5, no effect. And I think that's everybody. So everybody's back to normal again. So we don't have to worry about anything happening now. Big thing was that it was the good effect for the Austrians, so now they're getting back to 8 instead of 5. Actually, we have to check one other thing. 1916 blockade, so yeah, they lost 2. So Germany is losing 2 replacements, and Austria loses 1. All right, so we have to remember to do that also. So it's 7. Okay, we'll be back.